भगवान खाते नहीं भगवान खाते नहीं बेर शबरी के जैसे खिलाते नहीं शबरी के जैसे खिलाते नहीं अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम् ओ राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम् कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं माँ यशोदा के जैसे सुलाते 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 नहीं अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम् राम नारायणं जानकी वल्लभम् नाचते नहीं। कौन कहते हैं भगवान नाचते नहीं। गोपियों की तरह हम नचाते। गोपियों की तरह हम नचाते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम। राम नारायण जानकी ओ राम नारायण जानकी
बंद है खिड़की बंद सकता है, कोई रक्षक नजर न जाता, सोया है आकाश पे दाता। ये क्या हाल हुआ अपने संसार का, निकल रहा है आज जनाजा प्यार का।
Krishna Hari 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 Rama Hari Rama 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 Hari Hari
South North
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Om Apavitra Pavitra Santavira Yasmi Purikatam Sabhyabhyantasaji. Wash hands first. Om Govindaya Hasam Prakarshanam.
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama,
Wash
Rama
hands.
Rama, Hare
Wash hands.
Hare.
Govindaya Hasam Prakarshanam. Jagin Shri Keshawaya Shri Madhavaya Shri Achyutaya Namaha. Wash hands. Iti Hasam Prakarshanam.
Hare Krishna,
Wash hands. Govindaya Hasam Prakarshanam. We're going to drink. Shri Keshawaya Shri Madhavaya Shri Achyutaya Namaha. Wash hands. Iti Hasam Prakarshanam.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
this song.
Hare Krishna, Hare
Sankalp, right? When I tell
Krishna,
you, you will recite it. You
Krishna
are
Krishna,
singing, right?
Hare
Daddy's name is, holy name
Hare,
is what? Just
Hare Rama,
Holy
Hare
Name is
Rama, Rama Rama,
Om Shri Vishnu
Hare
Vishnu
Hare,
Namo Paramatmane Puran Purushottam Adheshi
Hare
Brahmanadvaitya
Krishna,
Paridheshi Shveta
Hare
Varaha Kalpe
Krishna,
Vaivasvat Mantre
Krishna
Ashta
Krishna,
Vinsharitame Kalyuga Kalpatam
Hare
Sharne Bhulok
Hare,
Jambudvev Trinidad
Hare
Varshe.
Rama,
This is what?
Hare Rama,
Dabari Gao
Rama Rama,
Antulanke
Hare
Karvyan Sagre Vikram
Hare,
Sakhe Buddhavatari Amuk Nam
Hare
Savatsari Amuk
Krishna,
Ay
Hare
Ritu Masi
Krishna,
Pakshi Titu Vasri Nakshatre
Gauranga,
Rasi Site
Krishna
Chandre
Krishna,
Rasi Site
Hare
Surya
Hare,
Kasyap Gotra Atpunaham.
Nityananda,
Recite your Rasi
Hare
names.
Rama, Hare
Yajman Namasya
Rama, Prabhupada,
Antyeshti
Rama Rama,
Samskar
Hare Hare,
Narine Antyeshti Samskar Aham
Hare
Krishi
Krishna,
Aham Pandit
Hare
Brahmana Nam Kirav Gav
Krishna,
Shanalishi Sankhya 3 Pul Nam Pare
Krishna
Prathe Shri Ved Puran
Krishna,
Pal
Hare
Prapti Kamata Pratishtha
Hare,
Shri Krishna
Hare
Sharanamama Shri Krishna
Rama,
Sharanamama
Hare
Shri Krishna
Rama,
Sharanamama. You take it and rest it
Rama
on the side here.
Rama, Hare
Yes, also
Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
You take some water.
Hare
All you come closer.
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
So you can take some water and you just sprinkle right around and then give her and give him, right?
So walk around the coffin.
No, right here. You just take it and sprinkle it on him, right around him, right? Om Govindaya Shri Krishna Govindaya no. Om Namo Paramatmane Namaha.
Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram, Achyutam Keshavam Krishna Damodaram, Ramanarayanam Janaki Vallabham. कौन कहते हैं भगवान काते नहीं, बीरस बड़ी की जैसी खिलाती नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम। कौन कहते हैं भगवान सोते नहीं, कौन कहते हैं भगवान नाचते नहीं, गोपियों की तरह तुम नाचते नहीं। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम।
Gandam.
नाम जपते चलो, काम करते चलो,
Gandam.
हर सार में कृष्णा के ध्यान करते चलो। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम। यार आएगी उनको कभी ना कभी, कृष्णा दर्शन तो देंगे कभी ना कभी। अच्युतम केशवम कृष्ण दामोदरम, राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम, राम नारायणम जानकी वल्लभम।
Do all five? Or?
No, just 3. The other people will come and put it, right? So, you just come and rest it around in here, right? Om Malakadini Sukadini Malachadini Tava Upadishadam. Om Tava Upadishadam Shri Krishna Sharanamama Govindaya Namo Paramatmane Shri Krishna Govindaya Namo.
There's time, get some matches, man.
Don't worry. It's alright, don't worry.
Right on the fridge, I have a box.
So you're not doing archery, right? You're just taking it and you're making a circle, right?
Okay.
So all you touch him, and just making one circumambulation and then come back right here, right? Om Krishnaya Vasudevaya Devaki Nandanaya Cha Nanda Gopa Kumaraya Govindaya He Braja Chandra Mukunda Krishna Nanda Nanda Ghanasham Charana Sharana Mauli Rakhi Kripa Sindhu Bhagwan Shri Radha Krishna Govindaya He Braja Chandra Mukunda Krishna Nanda Nanda Ghanasham Charana Sharana Mauli Rakhi Kripa Sindhu Bhagwan Govindaya Nona. You hold this in your hand and you could be when you hold it in your hand, you come and stand up right here for me. And when I tell you, and when I finish the mantra, then you go rest it in his right hand, right?
His right hand, okay.
Yeah. So come and touch him. Om Adhyamukha Gotrasya Pitarmukh Pret Bhumi Tushyartam Mritak Stane Shivo Nam Esht Pindasti Mayadyate Tao Upatishtatam. Rest it right in his right hand. Offer the little water on the pin itself and rest it right on top of it, right? On top of the pin. Om Tilanjaliste Mayadyate Tava Upatishtada. Good. Alright. So we finish here with this service. So whatever all you have planned like for eulogy and that kind of thing, all you organize.
Yeah.
And then when however your program is, you just let me know when I could come and talk a little bit.
No problem.
Alright? So come, Ali, come with me right here by this thing here. Okay. So often is this is for the Devata of the, hold this, let me just get the mantra there too for you. One second.
Sitaram, everyone. For those who don't know me, I am the niece of Uncle Narine, my mother being his older sister. Today I have been given the impossible task of celebrating the life of this remarkable person. For how can one express the full impact that he has made on the countless lives he touched throughout his life? Somehow, words seem inadequate. I might start by telling you how auspicious his birth was. He was born to Gangadai, Babulal, and Siew Ramdat into a growing family of 10. His father worked in the dairy section of the Orange Grove estate, and his parents lived very closely to their Hindu faith. It is said that his mother, Mama, sat in a Satnarayan puja and was so moved by the Pandit's katha about the qualities of Lord Narayan, she named him Narine. His birth was celebrated as he followed 3 sisters and preceded the next 3, the only boy among 6 sisters. He had the height, stature, and intelligence of his father's family, but maintained the humility and gentleness, a softness that never left him. He was always surrounded by love and somehow was able to keep himself above any confusion and chaos that arose. Growing up, he found a brother in Randolph, his cousin who lived with them, and together they ran racket around Mama, as both boys walked a tightrope between their traditional Hindu home and the worthless boys who limed around El Dorado streets. I remember when I was a child and watching my grandmother in the kitchen. Uncle Narine, who was a youth by then, slinked by to go upstairs, and by some sixth sense, My grandmother confronted him to check his pockets, only to discover a comic book or magazine of some kind. She rolled it up, and from her short, fat stance, she proceeded to beat his 6-foot height with the book. Uncle Narine bent his head and took his licks with a sheepish smile. Never in his life did he ever raise his voice to his parents. He was the epitome of respect and love. Later I found out that it was novels that he read so voraciously. Mama was worried that he would not focus on his schoolwork. So he would smuggle the books and hide them in his clothes basket beneath his dirty clothes. He made his family proud when he passed for Hillview College and studied mass communication, specializing in public relations with his sister Neri. He eventually rose to the ranks of senior income tax officer at Inland Revenue Department, but his love for family only grew when he married a girl from the south, Auntie Shamin, and had 3 children, Anjali, Akash, and Amrit. Every Christmas, birthday, and for his sister's Raksha Bandhan, we waited with bated breath for Uncle Narine's gifts, since his were always the best, and I confess it was also with envy that we watched what his own children got. As for his sisters, if anyone had a puja, he would be one of the first ones there to make his famous parsad and help turn a pot. In fact, the week before he passed away, he made it his business to help his sister Niri with her Durga Puja. Who knew that it would be the last time we would see him? But he was very proud of his cooking skills, and I would not lie to tell you that it was Uncle Narine who taught me how to make my first curry dish. Of course, I cannot talk about Uncle Narine, otherwise known as Mamu or Daddy Longlegs, and not mention his love for a line. He loved his All Fours tournaments, sports, westerns, and juvie. He was the first family member I knew who would grab us up for a spin around the dance floor and was open to any type of music. There was no distinction in race, religion, and culture. It was always a worry for his family that he would give himself too completely to Lyman, but he just smiled through the lectures of smoking and drinking too much. His nieces and nephews fondly remember the early days and the integral role he played in providing them with much-needed fun. Avinash from America said, "My uncle was a great man. My earliest memories of him were those of him teaching me how to wind to soca music. He was always the life of the party, full of perfected blend of fun and mischievousness. My uncle is a person who I strongly looked up to and taught me that it was okay to have fun as long as my business was taken care of. I will forever celebrate his legacy and for all the amazing lessons he taught me." Arvin's sister Hilya says, "Uncle Narine was the best uncle Arvin and I could have ever asked for. I lovingly called him Baldy because of his bald head. Even though it has been years since I have been to visit, I always felt at home with him and my cousins. He may have carried the weight of the world on his shoulders, but you would never know it. He greeted everyone with a smile and the tightest hug. I will treasure the memories I have of him and the laughs we shared. We are all so lucky and blessed to have known and loved him." Jeevan, who is in Canada, says, "I remember Uncle Narine taking us during summer holidays when we were kids to the Scarlet Ibis swimming pool. He always got us the best toys for Christmas. He was that cool uncle. His network of friends and connections wide and vast. He would get anything done. Everyone seemed to know him, and he seemed to know everyone. He was so fun, humble, generous, kind, light-hearted, a legend." Of all the nieces and nephews, he had a special connection with my brother Varma. As a child, Varma looked up to Uncle Narine as a father figure, and as he entered adulthood, they started relating to each other as brothers and liming partners. Varma reminisced on one of his talks with Uncle Narine. "I was complaining one day about my 2 sisters and how they were giving me a hard time. And to this, Uncle Narine laughed and said, 'Boy, you complaining about 2 sisters? I have 6 of them and a wife too, and I had to be in the middle. If you will see, but you will see when you get married, you will have to do like me and remain silent and strong in the middle.' But time passed and we all grew up. When his only daughter got married to Anil, a South boy, you would think that the distance would separate them. But Uncle Narine found a way to see his daughter by cooking lunch and driving to her workplace in Central almost every day. Such was his love for his children. However, Uncle Narine's life as he knew it changed when he found out that he was going to be a grandfather of not one, but two babies. 1 year ago, he was blessed with a grandson, Aryan from Anjali, and granddaughter, Amia from Akash, and together they ruled his life. He tried to take care of himself and made sure that he was there for them. He would see Aryan every chance he got and relished in playing with his grandson with pride. As for Amia, she was his eyeball, and in the same light, she had eyes only for him. And while we mourn the little time he had with his grandchildren, we still celebrate that he met them and loved them with that huge heart of his. In his tribute to Uncle Narine, Varma said, Uncle Narine's only problem in life was being unable to share himself because of the warmth and love he brought to those around him. Everyone wanted him to be with him, wanted him to be with them. His sisters wanted him, his wife wanted him, his children wanted him, his nieces and nephews wanted him, and his friends wanted him. But now we must learn to live without his presence and be happy with the fond memories that we shared with him. In closing, I will use Varma's words. Mamu, how shall we miss thee? Your impish grin, your self-proclaimed best-tasting curry duck, your out-of-timing yet comical outburst in otherwise solemn family gatherings. And when the dance floor gets hot, if it ever will again, your trademark shovel dance. Now, more than ever before, with your famous line, hey, well, after me is the rest, resonate in our minds with such a bittersweet nostalgia. But, like those classic westerns that he thoroughly enjoyed, he has chosen to act out his final scene in such bravado as the cowboy who mounted his steed for the last time and rode off into the sunset, leaving us to weep and wish for his return. Till we meet again, my dear Mamu, thank you for everything.
Can you hear me? Perfect. Thank you. Everyone, as you realize I'm unable to be here. It wasn't for a lack of trying, but COVID seemed to have other plans. So essentially it's not one for speeches, and we all know Akash is banned from any family podiums. I have the honorable task of sharing with you our dad's life. I'm up to it for this perspective to be on his character, how he grew into the person he is in his final chapter, and the impact he had on us becoming the persons we are today. If there's one thing that defined Dad's life was acts of service. Any family or friend could attest to the fact that if you asked Dad for help, he would. And if it was for a social event, 100% Dad would be there well beforehand helping you cook, especially if it was curry. With Dad's nature and helping others, honestly, you swear the house had a revolving door. That was always in and out, either, working on someone's taxes or helping someone, like find mango or shatine, or even just going to, like, God knows where. I think as kids, we stressed Mom out for the number of times she would have asked, "Hey, where's Dad?" But thank goodness for cell phones. Growing up, Dad may not have really asked us, how was your day, or do you need help with your homework, but he acted when you asked. When Angela needed to go to parties at like Pier 1 at night with her friends, Dad was there. Like sometimes he would be waiting in the car park well before they were ready to even go home. Or, if she and Mom were like making some dishes in the kitchen and they needed groceries, Dad wouldn't hesitate to just pick up and head to the market and get whatever needed. I'm reminded when I was working on like art projects in secondary school, he got someone to actually teach me metal bending, which was pretty a big impression on my teachers, and especially for the final year project. Until we actually learned to travel, or when he got us like our first sibling car, that would pick us up. Albeit there were some odd times, like he forgot us. Or before we actually made it home, we had to go to Captain's Bar. I think we did stress that out in our teenage years. More specifically, we used to steal his shirts. Because baggy clothes was the in thing then. During that like transition period from kids to young adults, we kind of grew into our independence, and our relationship kind of moved to be more transactional. But if there was anything we needed, I think Dad was always there, just ready to help out if we ever had to. I think a pivotal point for Dad to shift away from helping others, but to the household, was when Mom was unwell. We all had to step up in the household, but I think Dad was like the most improved. He did flood the laundry room on a couple of occasions because the poor guy never had to use a washing machine before. But he still tried, despite how many buckets of water we had to bail out of there. He eventually got transferred to like official clothes hanger person. Honestly, I don't think I ever saw Dad use a mop or a broom before Mom got sick. In mornings, Dad wanted to continue ensuring we all had food for breakfast and lunch. His challenge, however, was self-control. His hand was heavy. And I guess that's the challenge when you switch from, cooking for 30-something people to cooking for 5. And so sometimes we had to do like taste tests, and just to signal to each other that, it was safe to eat. Eventually, we just kind of figured out, hey, when he's cooking, let's try to get downstairs quick enough to make sure he doesn't traumatize us. For me, I remember like on some nights working late in the library, Dad would he would like make some random dish for us to eat, but he would always bring something up for me just to make sure that I took a mouthful, I approved of the flavor, and then he would leave me to go on to my work. Thankfully, his cooking and roti skills did improve. But I still get calls where, the family gets a little traumatized just because he's testing their salt intake levels. Dad was far from one to really talk about his feelings or show sadness in front of us. I think that changed when his little girl got married and moved away. that was a really humbling experience for him. You know, he may not have called Angeli every day, but he was always attentive whenever she called. And, you know, one of the things we did as a family is that every Sunday we would make a really big meal. And so on Mondays, Dad would drive down to her office just to drop off, you know, some lunch for her. I think for Dad, his life kind of gradually dimmed, progressing into retirement. You know, there was a shift in the way he carried himself. He was going out less. You know, his life seemed to fall into a less fulfilling routine. And, you know, that sense of work was kind of linked to his ability to do for others. So, you know, with his health declining, he was kind of less and less able to be the person he was. However, when Akish and Stacy started their business, Green Harvest, that reignited his life's purpose. That was like the star employee from washing kale, promoting and selling to his friends, you know, and even making deliveries. He was immensely invested in their venture, and he helped in whatever way he could, whatever capacity, whatever strength he had. I think Ashman, he said it best, you know, last year the family was blessed with me and Ari, and that really intensified Dad's life purpose. You saw how much he poured his heart into them, and how their presence really had him beaming with life and love again. I think overall, Dad taught us in unconventional ways to be better people. For one, he wasn't really the best communicator when it comes to conversations about himself. You could ask Dad about cricket, whiskey, or how to cook curry duck. But to my knowledge, he was never one to burden others with his adversities. I think that taught us the importance of healthy communication, being open with those close to us, and in some instances realizing that we may need guidance from those more equipped than us. That taught us the value of networking. You know, Dad was naturally charismatic. He had a way of connecting with people, making friends wherever he went. He may not have been able to do everything, but I mean, if you ever needed something, Dad was the guy you called, because he always had a friend someplace or somewhere that can help you out. I think Dad really taught us about being the moment, appreciating the little things, and sometimes it's okay to spend money on random things that makes you happy. I guess you could see the little statue. I used to call him Steve. He's there in the house. You know, I'll end with that. While Dad and I didn't really have a typical father-son relationship growing up, we bonded on things like profit and loss statements for his clients, and like wear and tear calculations. Him, you know, writing those up and me double checking his work on the computer. Those moments were like the foundation for more, you know, like for me merging my own career and now on an international scale. I think moving away from home also kind of helped bridge our communication gap, as, you know, he and I would have weekly check-ins. Oh, God forbid, on a Sunday, I missed calling. His mom would tell me how many times he would ask, the boy didn't call yet. And I just kind of followed him, guilt-tripping me for not calling. And then I was working too hard. And every time I'd ask about his health, he would just kind of deflect on the weather. And and if it was still cold or snowing. And he always ended that call with, "Oh, when am I coming home? I'll be home soon, Dad. I'm just sorry I couldn't be there early." Thank you.
Sita Pati Ramachandra ki jai. Brothers and sisters, let us clasp our hands and bow our heads in humble supplication as we pray for this noble soul on its continued journey. Hari Om Shri Vigneshwaraya Namah, Shri Saraswati Namah, Shri Guru Charana Kamalebhyo Namah. Namami Shamishan Nirvan Rupam Vibhyum Vyapakam Brahma Veda Swarupam Nijam Niragunam Vikalpam Niriham Chidakakshamakaksh Vasam Bhajeham Nirakar Munkar Moolam Turiyam Giragyan Goti Tamisham Girisham Karala Mahakal Kalam Kripalam Gunagar Samsar Param Natuham Tusharadhishankash Gauram Ghabhiram Manobhut Koti Prabhashri Shariram Spuran Maulikalolini Charu Ganga Lasadbal Balendu Kante Bhujanga Chalat Kundalam Bhru Sunetram Vishalam Prasannanam Neelakantam Dayalam Mrigadesha Charamam Baramundamalam Priyam Shankaram Sarvanatham Bhajami Prachandam Prakrushtam Pragalabam Paresham Akhandam Ajambhanukoti Prakasham Trayashol Nirmol Namashol Panim Bhajeham Bhavani Patim Bha Kalatita Kalyan Kalapantakari Sada Sajnanada Data Purari Chidananda Sandoha Moha Pahari Prasidha Prasidha Prabhu Manmathari Nayavadumanat Pararvindam Bhajanti Haloke Parevan Ranam न तावत् सुखम शांति संतापनाशन प्रसिद्ध प्रभु सर्वभूतादिवासम न जानामि योगम जपम नैव पूजम न तोहम सदा सर्वदा शंभुतुभ्यम जराजन्म दुःखो गतातप्यमानम प्रभु पाहि आपन नमामि श्री शंभो। ओम अनाधिन धनुदेव शंख चक्र गदाधार अक्षय पुंडरीकाक्ष प्रेत मोक्ष प्रभुभव श्री कृष्णा शरणम मम श्री कृष्णा शरणम मम श्री कृष्णा शरणम मम। Brothers and sisters, Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells us in chapter 2, verse 27, that that which is born is sure to die, and that which has died is sure to be reborn. And there's no need for remorse. When two cells came together and there was conception, after the subdividing of those cells, at some point in time, that life force enters that mass. And then there's something called a quickening. The cell starts to divide faster. And eventually that babe is born. So understand that the cells were there and a life force came. And then there was that subdividing. So that life force is there. That life force is accumulating nutrients from the mother, and there's subdivision of the cells. When that babe comes out, that babe is very small. That babe continue to take nourishments from the earth, and it grows to a toddler, grows into a young person, grows into an elderly person. So what I'm trying to tell you, Pyare, that life force is not this. This is an accumulation. This physical body is an accumulation. Bhagwan Shri Krishna tells us that that life force cannot be wetted, it cannot be dried, it cannot be burnt. It is immortal. Our brother is continuing on his journey. Shri Krishna Chandra Bhagavan ki Jai. I'd like to now invite the immediate family to come and put some malas, pay your last respects, and then everyone else would come thereafter. Somebody had to say something else?
No, that's it.
Okay.
That's all.
Krishna Hare, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे, जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय कृष्ण हरे, श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे, जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। जब चार तरफ अंधियारा हो, आशा का दूर किनारा हो, जब चार तरफ अंधियारा हो, आशा का दूर किनारा हो, और कोई न केवल वारा हो, और कोई बेरा पार करो, जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय कृष्ण हरे, श्री कृष्ण हरे, दुखियों को दुख दूर करे, जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। तू चाहे तो सब कुछ कर दे, विष को भी अमृत कर दे, तू चाहे तो सब कुछ कर दे, विष को भी अमृत कर दे, पूरन कर दे सबकी आशा, पूरन कर दे सबकी आशा। जो भी तेरा ध्यान धरे, फिर तू ही बेड़ा पार करे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे, जय कृष्ण हरे, श्री कृष्ण हरे। दुखियों को दुख दूर करे। जय 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 कृष्ण हरे। एक दिन हमें भी जाना है, एक दिन हमें भी जाना है। जग चला जात है सारा, जग चला जात है सारा। इसका कौन ठिकाना है, एक दिन हमें भी जाना है, एक दिन हमें भी जाना है। खूब मौज कर देख तमाशा, खूब मौज कर देख तमाशा। खेलने को करनी है सो करे बंदे, करनी है सो करे बंदे। फिर नहीं आना है, एक दिन हमें भी जाना है।
त्वमेव माता च पिता त्वमेवा, त्वमेव बन्धु च सखा त्वमेवा, त्वमेव विद्या द्रविणं त्वमेवा, त्वमेव सर्वं मम देव देवा। आई भी अकेला, जाई भी अकेला। दो दिन की जिंदगी है, दो दिन का मेला। आए भी अकेला, जाए भी अकेला। दो दिन की जिंदगी है, दो दिन का मेला। जीने के लिए है तुले महल सजाए, जीने के लिए है तुले महल सजाए। मतलब की याद सारी सब है पराई। दिन के लिए है कितना तूने दुख खेला। दो दिन की जिंदगी है, दो दिन का मेला। आए भी अकेला, जाए भी अकेला। दो दिन की जिंदगी है, दो दिन का मेला। काहे तू आया जग में, क्या तुझको करना। काहे तू आया जग में, क्या तुझको करना। लेके कदम कर ले, दुनिया से धरना। पाप की अगम में तुझको काहे तू अकेला। दो दिन की जिंदगी है, दो दिन का मेला आए भी अकेला जाए भी अकेला दो दिन की जिंदगी है दो दिन का मेला हरि की शरण तू होगा ज्ञान लगाई हरि की शरण तू होया ज्ञान लगाई जीवन मिले ना फिर ये जीवन तो पाली खेल जगत का सारा हुसीना अकेला दो दिन की जिंदगी है दो दिन का मेला ये जिंदगी है प्यारी एक झूठ सपना ये जिंदगी है प्यारी एक झूठ सपना गैरों की दुनिया में नहीं कोई अपना सबकी रहते होए मैं हूँ अकेला दो दिन की जिंदगी है दो दिन का मेला आए भी अकेला जाए भी अकेला दो दिन की जिंदगी है दो दिन का मेला दो दिन की जिंदगी है दो दिन का मेला Goodbye, my beloved brother. One day we will meet again in the humble abode of Lord Sri Krishna. All your sisters, we will be there. Just hold tight. Hold tight.
We'd like to invite everyone else to come and offer a flower and pay your last respects. And you'll walk this way and go around that way. Sitapati Ramachandra ki jai. We'd like to leave the floor open for if anyone wants to say anything, any memories that they have of Bhaya Narine, to please come and do so. Brothers and sisters, so we have a specific time that we need to reach by the cremation site because it is because Narine was such a noble soul and always helpful to everyone. He would be the only cremation at that site today. It's not allowed on a Saturday. But because he was such a great and noble soul, always helpful, only his cremation will be held at the Caroni site. However, we have a specific time to reach there. So we'll be organizing now to wrap up and leave. So this is the last chance that you all would have here. After this, we'll be heading to the cremation site. So anyone who wishes to come and offer a flower and take their final look, please do so now. Thank you. Did you here? That could go back inside the house, right?
Wait, back where it was.
Where it was before, right?
Yeah, we will come back. We will see what we can do.
You could keep it. See some battery.
When we reach there, let's go back up.
Right. Yeah. Well, viens.
Put this right there underneath. And
Angeline, get somebody else to do that.
Run. Varma? Come on, Anjali.
राम नाम सत्य है, 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 राम नाम सत्य है। Good. Right on.
साथ जाने किधर चले, टूट गई है माला, मिलन की दुनिया छोड़ चलेंगे आज भी राह में सपने, मिलन की दुनिया छोड़ चलेंगे आज भी राह में सपने, खोए खोए नैनों में है उजड़े उजड़े सपने, उजड़े उजड़े सपने, याद की गठरी लिए झुकाए नजर चले, दो दिन रह कर साथ जाने किधर चले, टूट गई है माला, अब तो ये जग में जिएंगे आंसू पीते पीते, अब तो ये जग में जिएंगे आंसू पीते पीते, जैसी इन पे बीती वैसी और किसी पे न बीते, और किसी पे न बीते, कोई मत पूछो इन्हें लिए किस डगर चले, दो दिन रह कर साथ साथ जाने किधर चले। टूट गई है माला, मोती बिखर चले। 2 दिन रह कर साथ जाने किधर चले, जाने किधर चले, जाने